All right, this is Darren with Confident Home Solutions, licensed general contractor, builder, modeler in North Carolina. Electrician called me up, said he'd done some work over at this person's house, and they had a girder underneath this house that he said he was kind of freaked out being underneath. So, not sure what we're getting into. So, need to go up and talk to the homeowner and get on there and see what it's all about. All right. All right, so look at this. I don't know if you can get the perspective of how much this girder is. I thought originally this is what we're looking at. So that joist is all busted. Oh, we're down there. And we got some. That's just basically when a joist gets overworked or whatever, pushed past its limits, it'll do that. But I got looking at this and I was trying to figure out, I was like, why is it twisted? Well, it's because when they originally built it, I don't know if you can see those supports right there, they didn't put them in the center. So they put them off to the edge. That's what it looks like. Now it slid some, but wow, this is too bad. This is annoying. We've seen this over and over. Now, another thing that could have happened is, let's say one board, we have seen this before, where one joist is considerably taller than the two that are beside it, and as they could have actually shimmed it up to where, let me see, let me show you. So let's say this joist, and I don't have a tape measure down there. Let's say this joist, I should go grab a tape measure, but this joist is 1/4 of an inch, and yes, it can vary that much, 1/4 of an inch, taller than these two, or maybe 1/4, 1/8, and 1/8. Either way, it will slowly start twisting the girder, and next thing you know, this is extreme right here. I mean, it's, oh boy, I just can't get the correct perspective for you. This is too bad. See that this pier is leaning too. That one back there actually looks straight. Wouldn't you believe? Okay, that's a good example right there. The girder's setting straight up and down. Look at where the edge, look at where they put it up on the edge of it. So that's why it's so important that you actually have the girder setting in the center of that. All right. The reason is, get over here. The footing for this pier may not be much wider than what this is. And just over time, it being on that edge, it just slowly twists. So it's either the joist were too long on this side, longer here than as the middle or there, or they put it on the side. Now we can already see that they put it on the edge down through there.
All right, so I actually took a second to sketch something up. So this would be your footing here. A lot of times you have a 4 to 6 inch overhang just for this right here, in the event that, I mean, you can't actually put these on the side, but they could actually be a little off center and be okay for that reason. But I've been into a lot of different footings and piers to where the contractor skimps and they don't do the proper overhang. Now the inspector's supposed to catch that, but they don't ever get down there and measure that. So I mean, it was definitely wide enough, but they still needed that pier. And shoot, we have been into multiple different piers. Actually, when we went in there to work on them, and this is what the footing looked like. It was literally round down in there. Okay, so that's not very good right there, but tell me how this thing is going to keep from tipping side to side, let alone this thing not being in the center. All right, second thing I wanted to show you, and me get it, is the joist. And this is something that I'd brought up. We ran into this multiple times. And believe it or not, over the length of the life of a house, if you have a joist that is, and joist is multiple joists put together, that's what makes your girder. If you have one that's a little bit taller, and they can be up to 1/4 of an inch difference, sometimes even more than that. And the builder, if they're not careful and they don't get these things sized, this will compress down and will slowly start to twist. And we've seen them literally, let's say it's right there over years, you can tell. And next thing you know, they will start just laying right down. So the builder has a couple options, either to go in there and plane that bottom to get them all the same height, or come in and shim this side. Yeah, so either way, I was just explaining as to what was happening there. We've seen quite a few different reasons as to why girders will start to twist. And that's not to mention, there's one other thing that can cause this. You get one joist that is really strong heartwood and just wants to twist and do all of its stuff, and it will slowly pull these out of alignment. And if you don't have a good footing, if you don't have the proper footing and everything in there, next thing you know, that girder is doing whatever it wants, and it's being accelerated by it not having the proper pier and footing put in. Okay, so I just thought about this. How have we stopped this, especially if we've had some girders that were separated a little bit, that racked, that we were able to straighten up? Well, we through bolted it. So you stagger these back and forth. So like every couple feet, but I would put the upper bolt at 1 foot and then the lower bolt a little ways down. So that way you're not weakening the girder too much in the exact same line. So these would be spread away by at least 1 foot, if not more. 1/2-inch bolts, it pulls it together. And so even if you do have a little bit difference in thickness there, this thing's only going to tip just a little bit and it's done. You can't convince me that it's going to rack like this with a bolt going straight through. I mean, it would destroy these other 2 joists that are beside it, or the other members of the girder. You know, it would have to pull that bolt through that lumber that far. So that's one way to correct your girder right there, is by getting them straightened up. If you can straighten them, you know, a lot of times you have to replace them by through bolting it, and you're good to go.
This is bad. This is real bad. Idiots. All right, so I just got back from talking with the woman and the homeowner, and asked her, a couple questions. How long she'd owned it? She said 30 years. I said I saw a support down there, and I says, they probably should have told you that you had a lot of this going on. That's probably about the worst girder I've seen as far as twisting. We've seen some twisted, but that's bad. I mean, that, to give you an idea, let me see, probably about that angle right there. So there wasn't, I mean, if you were to tip them back up, you're going to gain about 1 inch height, maybe, probably at least. And there's not much strength. So, and it's even, with them being tipped over, it's even adding more pressure to the side of those piers. Yeah, so I got to, sometimes the permits office asks me to pull an engineering permit. Sometimes they don't care. So I guess I got to check with them, see what they want, because it's pretty straightforward what needs to be done. There's nothing wrong we can put it back exactly the way it was. It just needs to be done properly, because the way it was put in there was nothing wrong. It just needs to be put in there properly. So, all right, I will, if we get the job, I'll bring you back in there. But horrible. That's too bad. So, see you.